Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Namofsky, and today's topic is the state of mental health and where to from here. Before we went to break, Stephanie, we're talking about the state of mental health for women across society. Where's that at now?
Yeah, so it's always been a special issue. And I think what we really have to consider here is what happened during the pandemic. I think women have always had that burden, or lack of a better word, of having a 9 to 5 career, supporting the family that way, and also having another job at home, right? You're doing household duties, you're doing a lot of mental work in terms of taking care of the household, children, your partner, etc. And the burnout that can lead to. I think before it was difficult, and I think with the strain and what they went through, what we all went through, it's even more higher numbers of burnout is what I'm seeing, and a lot more, I think, struggling with that additional labor on top of everything else. I think it's something that's always been around, but it's kind of more imperative right now that we actually talk about it and actually try to make some sort of adjustment or address it in some way.
So, how do you think it's manifesting in the lives of women right now? We've suffered through the pandemic. A lot have taken themselves out of the workforce. A lot are still struggling with, taking care of children or whatever. So, where are we at now?
Yeah, I think we as a society, and we need to step back and really think about what resources we're providing. I think, anyone who works in mental health will tell you there's not enough funding. It's just not there, right? And the system isn't well streamed, and there really is no structure. So I think we're at a point right now where we could continue and ignore it, or do what we've been doing, the status quo, or we could actually address it. I think when things like pandemics happen, I notice, in history as well, once they're over, we kind of just move on, like as a society. We don't really stop and say, okay, XYZ happened. This is where we are right now. How are we going to move forward and support women? I think too, what we're going to see is and we're already seeing it, higher numbers of depression, higher number of, those with anxiety, as well as burnout and kind of more extreme results coming. I think right now we're in a special place where I think we could make a difference, but it's if we're actually going to do it or not.
You just mentioned anxiety, and I know that there are a lot of young adults in their 20s, 30s that are extremely anxious. What
Mm.
is going on through our youth's minds right now?
Yeah, so I think for the youth, it's a very special generation. They have a lot of different issues that other generations didn't necessarily have. And I think sometimes when there's this generational battle, like we had it this way, or we had to do this, or it's not that hard, but they're really going through a very difficult time right now in terms of even just on the global scale. Issues like climate change are increasing anxiety levels, the job market, the you know, housing costs, inflation, cost of living, everything is very heightened right now. And I think as a young person, that's a very difficult thing to take on, especially transition years. If you're in high school or university and college, that time or young adult, that's a lot to carry. And I think a lot of them they lost key years. Think about it, right? They lost perhaps their junior or senior years in high school, prom, all these things that kind of are rituals and ceremonies that kind of take us along our journey, as well as things like university, first, second, third year, or fourth. These are huge gaps in their lives that again they didn't have, and I think we're not stopping enough to say, okay, what are we going to do about this instead of just kind of leaving it and let's carry on.
So we've got about a minute before we go to break. So I'd like to begin this next question. What's the current state of workplace mental health?
Yeah, so it's a funny and strange phenomenon that's happening right now. I find a year ago everyone was on mental health still. We were discussing it. It was top of mind. Right now it's fallen to the back burner. And there are certain reasons why, but we can discuss that when we return.
Okay, so when we come back, you and I will talk about mental health at work, what we can do to help all of the workers out there, the future of it all, and you know, mental health has such a drag on all of us, whether it is depression, whether it's anxiety. We're all going through something. I mean, I can tell you, I lose sleep at night. My brain just keeps twirling all night long, and I worry about things that are near and dear to me and things that I have absolutely no control over. So please don't go away. Stephanie and I will be right back.